I'm jacking Artrospective. Yeah. I'm really jacking Artrospective with lax.
Yo, we here today, you know what I'm saying, another episode of Artrospective. Here with my boy Cito, Blanko, poet, philanthropist, you know what I'm saying, certified lover boy, all that, you know what I'm saying. Gotta dap it up real quick. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, well, for real life. What's good, bro? How's everything, man?
Chilling, man. Can't complain. Appreciate the invite. Good weekend. You know, so I'm in a good spot to talk some shit. You know, have a good conversation and just talk about the process, man. I know it's not easy. It's not easy, like living this lifestyle. You know, I'm staying tapped in with the hard work, but the fun and the play. So, you know, but it's always inspiring to be here. Always congrats on the shop. You know what I'm saying? Love what y'all do here. You know, they make my merch. Just let you know, they make the merch. So if you like the merch, know that it's made here. Yeah.
I got a personal question for you right now. Well, a question based off of my personal relationship with you, bro. Like I know you started out with, you know, with sports, you know what I'm saying? That's your background prior to poetry. So I was just trying to figure out, like, you know, how did you transition from sports to poetry, and like how was that for you? Was it like not even like if people got imposter syndrome and shit like that, or just even people trying to box you in, like, you know what I'm saying? You felt any of those things? Like
that's the imposter syndrome is crazy. I suffer with that all the time. At the most I would say I felt boxed in is wild because, like, I remember I feel like I boxed myself in. Like, naturally when you're growing up, it's kind of like there's niggas that play ball, there's niggas that get girls, niggas that do the street shit, smart niggas, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, everybody's kind of in their own category. You get older, you realize that you kind of need a blend of all of those things in one. Excuse me, to survive through this life. But at that moment, like, I thought football, I'm about to buy my mama a house. Like, I'm watching Sports Center all the time. I'm seeing niggas putting bows on Range Rovers and shit. And I thought that was the only way out because I guess that's what was fed to us at times. Yeah, so it was kind of...
They like niggas just copy what they see.
Yeah, like you probably like environment type shit. Like maybe people really kind of see get out into sports or the rapping or other things. So the transition was just wild because my competitive nature transitioned from sports into poetry, which is always a good thing. But one day I was just in training camp and I hated it. And I was like, I don't want to do this no more. And I realized that, like, I just couldn't invest as much time into something that wasn't going to serve me no more. And it was just a lot. Like from 6 to 10, just from study halls to practice to workouts to school. I just didn't want to invest that much time into it. So I finished training camp, packed that up. And then one day in my third college, I actually went home, worked, did a whole bunch of other shit. Bought a Jaguar. That was a horrible investment. Spent $15,000 on a Jaguar. Worst decision in my life. I thought I was fucking Rick Ross or some shit. It was crazy. Playing Maybach music every day in a Jaguar. I ain't gonna lie, I had the buttercream interior though, you know what I'm saying? It was crazy, man. V8 too, that shit was fast, clean. I was getting, let me stop. Anyways. Yeah, that was good. It was a good investment because that investment taught me to be more careful with major investments in my life. Like, buying a bad car is like a symbolism for life. It could look good, but nigga, can it take you where you need to go to? Like, I had a Honda that I could drive from here to Florida and back. But my Jaguar couldn't get me from White Plains Road and back, okay? So that says a lot about just what things look versus what they really are. So I think that was prevalent to me. But I started poetry simply, I was doing a podcast, and I started to do poetry to promote the podcast. So everything was just kind of like a step to another step to another step. But I don't know, I feel like sometimes like everything in life prepares you for your calling.
Yeah, well, you know, people multifaceted the same way, bro, so
it's important.
You know what I mean? It's layers to everybody. So I don't really want to say good or bad, but you know what I mean? You know, they like, yeah, you just kind of like you create versions of yourself to survive certain things. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really want to say like good or bad.
No, that's a good point. Because it's like sometimes you have to compartmentalize everything just to get through certain spaces. That's right. Because there's certain environments I've been in that I didn't want to be in. Not to be a person I probably don't like, but that was the only way to get out that space.
All right, look, I got to chime in. I know what's going on, y'all. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Chuck, you know what I'm saying? You know the vibe. I got to chime in. So, like, there was a specific moment. I remember him. We were going to this show, and, like, you know, I roll with Cito to every show, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a couple years, like, it was just on road.
I mean, on road
every day. You know what I'm saying? Every day.
4 or 5 shows a week, bro.
4 or 5 shows a week. You know what I'm saying? So we went. So the shows I was used to was more like, you know, he was Cito Blanko. You know, he's more street. You know, like more outgoing, like very. How could I say? Aggressive, more energy, more you know, and passion. So we went to this show where there was a bunch of stiffs there, you know what I'm saying? You know, and that shit was hilarious. You feel me? So like suit and ties. Yeah. So like this is my first lesson of the Matrix, you know what I'm saying? Understanding like blue and red pill. You know, I never understood that because naturally I'm more of a red pill. You know, people would more consider me that, you know, on the spectrum, you know what I'm saying? So especially around that time. So I was just used to a certain Cito, you know what I'm saying? Like I know his real name. Yeah. I know him, you know, it's my boy, but like I know, like this is Cito Blanko at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? So when I'm going in there and they're referring to him as his name, the first thing I ask, like, yo bro, why they calling you by your name like that? Like, you know what I'm saying, what's going on? And he's kind of, he sees my face kind of getting kind of like I'm getting upset, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, yo bro, like what's going on, bro? And then, alright, he say, yo bro, I know bro, you know what I'm saying, we just in a certain space, but he's still not trying to explain to me, like I guess he didn't realize that I'm like kind of, like I didn't know how new it was for you. Yeah, he didn't know how new it was.
Legit, like he ain't, because the difficult part about it is like, anybody, like I spent 13 summers in Vermont with a family that, a whole like Caucasian family, like they call them the Cliffs, they're amazing, like she's like my second mother. So there's a lot of experiences in my life that are extremely different, and I'm also, so it's like I have a very unique perspective where it's like, I know how to code switch very good.
Right.
Like my grandmother grew up and lived next to an NFL player type shit. So it's kind of wild because it's like on that side of the family, there's like money and prestige and all of that. But then when I'm with my mom and y'all kind of like didn't give me none of that. Right. So the irony is that when I'm with you, I'm probably in the fancy restaurants. I go back home, I'm across the street from Edenwood Projects.
Right.
So it gave an interesting perspective where I call it the silver spork. Like I have a silver spoon. But the people that know what a spork is, know mine was silver compared to theirs. Right. Because there's more. So when I go to those spaces, I just channel like my grandma's like, you have to walk like this, and so I've been programmed and taught to be that. But I rebel in it. But I also understood at a certain period of time, being Cito Blanko didn't necessarily bring in the checks I needed at that time. Real shit is tough because I remember the older generation that kind of like, yo, we not trying to be sellouts. And I would classify that as selling out, just for the record. They always say they don't want to be sellouts, but they were okay being starving artists. And I think breaking one of the generational curses is, yo, we not trying to be starving artists. Yeah. So a part of not being starving artists is understanding that, yo, real talk, most of the time I say the same poems at every show. The only difference is I bleep out certain curse words and I have different intros. Because I just switch the lens from which you're looking at the poem from. Because we talk about all the time, most of my poems has a carrot at every part of the rabbit hole. So if you're just on top of the land, you're gonna get you a carrot. Right. But if you're trying to really get some food, you're gonna get a carrot down there as well. Right. In those situations, I've had to learn that sometimes you have to shift a little bit to get that back, to get those resources, so you can go do the other shows because it keeps you self-sufficient. Right. Because the other shows, bro, I'm barely having enough gas to get to Brooklyn.
It's funny because after that show, though, that's when I started seeing the squares. I started seeing their true colors after, though. It's kind of like, I started seeing a dude with the suit that was like, hey, I was going like, yo, bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro, that was fire. And then like, I see them pull up to the other shows like later, and they're like really on their time. And I'm like, oh, all right.
But that's the good part about it. It's like,
but you see, like I had to learn.
You have to infiltrate the matrix and bring people back to themselves.
Yeah.
We took some of them suits and it was over in the hood shows with the Scullies on. Like that's my neighbor. Because the wild part is that all of them live there. All these suits are from where we from. They just probably wasn't on the blocks with us. Yeah. But they went to the schools we went to. Nigga, your aunt and your mom is probably serving me my freaking vegan curry go right now. So he gets it. So the beautiful part is that I get to go to them shows and pull some people back to reality and get paid for it. It's difficult because some CEOs look at you like, how did you get booked? But I realize that sometimes I realize that I'm paid to be the fuck you to a company by somebody that signs my check because they can't say it. So I'm the figurative language speaker for somebody that wants to tell their company like, yo, y'all be doing some bullshit in here, but I'm gonna pay this poet to do it. And to take y'all money so you can go and feed it back to this community. Right. So in that aspect, I feel like it's some spook that's set by the door type shit. Right? For aspect with you, I know there's certain times that you gotta make a shirt that's probably for like a school or for like a company that's probably gonna bring in way more money than some cool creative shit. Like that you really wanna, but you also understand that, yo, like man, seeing this every day don't feel like they're not being that creative or I'm tapping in. But you also understand that, yo, these niggas order 1,000 shirts. like you just gotta wear that, you just gotta do it. Like
That should pay the bill.
exactly. So you just gotta understand the balance of that.
Yeah, that's true.
But you brought up like, the name of your third book, you know what I'm saying? I guess you gotta go to your first book now, you know what I'm saying? Like how did that happen? Like how that came to fruition? What made you want to do that, bro? You know what I'm saying?
I ain't gonna lie, first book came strictly off of ego at first.
One question. What's the name of your first book?
First book, 98 cents, because I don't care about the world, 2 cents. Slogan, how much does your freedom cost? Tap in. We got merch, which is made here at Made in NY. Books on Amazon.com. It's on CitoBlanko.com. Yeah, just tap in, man. We got a lot of things going on, a lot of shows. Put the email on there, get the email list. You know what I'm saying? We booking, we booked, we busy. We also giving back to our people. First book stemmed from me going to shows and seeing people that have books. Going at the New York, going to the Brick, going to spots like Open Mic Cafe, Harlem Shelter, a lot of different shows I used to go to. I see people have books and merch. And when I used to go to shows, I used to always lose money. In the sense that like it costs money to get there, either gas or train. I'm buying one drink, I'm buying food. So most time when I did the show, I'm probably going home negative net 80. At least sometimes 150 depending on the night. So I used to always wonder like, I'm not getting paid for shows yet, but they allow you to sell things. What merch can I have? I see the book always slap something different. So to me, it did. So I tried to write a book on some, I'm gonna get a book, everybody's got a book shit, ain't gonna say work out that way. Then eventually, like I kept on writing my book, writing it in my phone, writing poems. And one day I realized I had a book. And the irony was just more like, and I say that more in my poems, like don't stay at the destination because the ETA might scare you away. In that situation, like I'm staring book, never got it done. When I realized like step by step, write a poem today, write a poem tomorrow, write a poem today, write a poem tomorrow, write a poem today, write a poem tomorrow. As time goes on, eventually I'm gonna get to that book. And that's when I realized like nigga, step by step matters. So that's how my book formulated. Went on my phone one day and I realized I just had a book. Put it on WordPerfect, created the concept, put everything together, got it to my editor. Shout out to Ross Savage, he did an amazing job on my book. One thing that was cool about my book that come around designers, niggas make clothes and everything like that. Shout out to my boy Muggsy McFly, like I had like one of the top designers in my neighborhood design my book cover. We're working on part 2 right now. But I always wanted to kind of like create the process where I'm into the arts, I'm into fashion, I'm into all different things creative, so I wanted my book to be an experience, like on some Virgil shit, like imagine Virgil was on the book cover, which he has done, but let me might as well go to the Virgil in my neighborhood. And that's what I feel like Muggsy is at times. So I just wanted to kind of like be really, really dope about that concept and the process of it, and even the marketing side of it. Cause I had a name for it, but then I realized that once you're done with the creativity, you have to turn the business hat on. And I realized that the names that I had was self-sufficient for me, but for somebody walking by that has never seen my book before, don't know who I am, what would draw their attention?
The title you had, that wasn't the original title?
No,
Oh.
it wasn't. It was not. The title was The Purple Pill. I thought it was going to be Red versus Blue Pill. I thought that was going to be.
Yeah.
But then as I started to do the book, the funny cat, I was writing a poem. And I was like, literally, I don't care about your 2 cents. I got my 98. Then I said, like, I was like, that sounded like,
So this is it.
yeah. And then I was like, oh shit, not 98 cents, like 98 cents. And then after that, I was like, slogan, I don't need your 2 cents. Then I'm like, how much does your freedom cost? Because everybody has opinions of you, but if you got 98 cents, they 2 cents get you $1. So all that came on after just the space of going through the process of it. I didn't say, let me stop, I don't got a title. I said, yo, let me write this book, and then as I write it, the book will tell me what the title is. So now I don't try to force those things. As you're in it, they'll come. So names, titles, designs, while I'm doing it, it'll formulate. And the more and more you do it, it'll take, like most of my merch probably took me like 7 designs to get to that one. Now I'm probably at 4. Eventually I'll probably get to 3. I'm kind of like, I know how to start to break it down. And that's what people say, the process is like them shots, like eventually you know where your sweet spots are in your creativity with your pen,
Yeah,
like stuff like
You're
that.
finding like your style, you know?
100%.
Your visual voice. and
Yeah.
shit like that.
I feel like it's the same way with like playing sports or a gal. Like eventually you kind of know, I know what I can say to a woman that's gonna make her intrigued. Somebody else may not be able to say it, but I know it may work for me. I know, like, on a basketball court, like, I bet, nigga, you're not 6'6". So you're going to have a crossover, a couple hezzies to get to where you got to get to. So I just got, eventually you know what works for you. And that's what I learned in, like, the writing aspect and the poetry aspect.
That shit was kind of remind me, like, you know, when they say, like, they say these, like, yo, look where y'all gonna go, where y'all look. Nah, real shit, cause I like my cousin, my older cousin, he said that shit to me, and I was just like, that shit just really stuck with me, like, you feel me? That I see, like, you can't really, like, go where you look, you gonna fuck up, you know what I'm saying? So, you just gotta see what's ahead of you type shit.
I think they say what they vision over sight. Like, you need the vision. Vision is faith. You just gotta have the faith that it's gonna do that. And if not, sometimes you have to put your head down and just keep on going until you find a vision. I think that's the thing that I have to learn. Like, don't stay still.
Yeah.
Cause when I stay still, to eventually get the idea I want, it never comes.
Right.
I gotta move. Like, I gotta keep on moving. If I don't move, hold on. All my best opportunities. It's funny. Cause I remember Nip saying that he found out he was nominated for a Grammy in the gym. All my best opportunities come when I'm doing something. I just left the gym. I went to an event. I emailed somebody, I'm reading a book, I'm doing the work.
It's like a seed planted already.
Exactly. Like, I feel like the universe respects people when they're doing stuff. So most of my great news, emails, pushback shows, all of that comes when I'm in the process of doing something that helps me get closer to what I need to anyway.
Right.
So I feel like that energy can't be denied. So if you keep on doing stuff, eventually you're gonna get your answers.
Right.
But man needs his work. Man needs to understand his purpose. Because without the purpose, you don't iron out the kinks. You don't figure out who you are in environments to succeed. You don't know how to take an L. You don't know how to contemplate and departmentalize through a situation. Like, learning how to put on shows has taught me how to operate a household. To understand, like, okay, there's different moments, emotional intelligence that you have to have when certain, okay, this person may be feeling this at this time, but they were just good, but now they're not good right now. What could cause that? What is the overall goal? Like, what has to happen? I remember on Moment Cloudy, I talked about there's moments and times that I feel like my decisions aren't good enough to run a household. But I realized that as I continue to do my work and I make decisions in this world, it teaches me how to be a man in a household.
Yeah.
To say, like, okay, if I'm wrong, how do I get it back right? Because the same way in shows or entrepreneurship, with my wrong decision, like, adult problems cost money. Nigga, like, when it comes to, like, running a household or being with women or eventually raising children, like, emotional problems cause trauma and pain. And I don't want it to be that on any scale. So I think it's important to understand when you are creatively, entrepreneurially, business-wise, purpose-wise, the same way we are with the love shit, because they go hand in hand, especially for men then. If I'm not handling my shit business-wise, most of the time I'm not a great son, a great brother, any of that shit. I'm not a great cousin. I'm not a great
niggas like, my
boyfriend.
pockets ain't right, I can't be romantic.
Exactly. Yo, that's real talk. Like, my pocket's not right, I can't be romantic. It's a real thing. Like, that's a real situation.
Yeah.
So it's important for, like, men to know that.
Nah, that's funny. That's funny though. Definitely on something with that one. Nah, that was a good talk though, bro. Definitely good talk. Got a lot of shit off right there.
For sure. Appreciate the invite, man. Now we smoking.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We're really doing shit sponsored by Now Smoking. Being here, made fucking headquarters, made a lot. Yo, you really, you know, dropped a lot of gems today, man.
Tequila, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You gave my son Chuck to me real quick. But yeah, I think that's about it. You know what I'm saying? For the questions, at least my questions for right now, bro. You know, hopefully, you know, when the third or the second and third book drop, you know what I'm saying, we pull back up.
I'm on for sure.
Wait, one question before we log out. You can answer this if you want to.
Okay.
But
It's if you want it, it's crazy, man.
what is currently driving you to continue, like, following this path? Like, what is the energy behind, like, the Cito Blanko train? Like, what is fueling you to do what you're doing right now? Like, currently today.
I give you two answers. And you can take either one you want to, right? I give you two answers.
I see. It's you, bro. Do what you do.
I'll give you a real truthful answer, and I'll give you the answer that I want to say and believe it. The first answer is, I invested so much in this shit that I can't U-turn. I can't go back. That I can't just be some nigga that just got a job and probably making $150,000, $75,000 at a company right now, doing accounting that my grandmother would pay for me to college to do, because I said I could do it on my own and do it my way. The other part of it that I want to answer and understand and be one day is that I really acknowledge and know it's bigger than me. Yesterday we was at an event, shout out to my boy Tips, who was in the Adidas store, and I seen some of my young boys that I used to actually teach in the school. And they had, like, they started grinding and they had cameras in their hands and they being creative and they always remembered me. And I have students now that I used to teach that are just out here taking pictures of NBA players, doing a bunch of different things. And in those moments, it makes me realize that, yeah, it'd be cool to have a feature with Drake, but like being loved in your neighborhood, having a handprint on the future creatively, giving black men the voice or the words or the literature to explain emotions and feelings they've been like burying for their entire life through a poem, makes me understand that doing God's work does not mean I gotta be a deacon or a pastor. And that's the shit that I know in my heart of hearts is what it's all about, but I don't feel like that. I still let my mistakes get the best of me, and I still feel like I haven't done enough. And I don't, and before I used to let that stop me from doing the work that helped everybody else. Now I'm realizing, help everybody get to where they need to go mentally, spiritually, emotionally, the way I can. And hopefully God gives me the grace to give me the fruits of my labor that can take care of my family and the people I love one day. And that's the fuck how I see that shit. Maybe that's a tequila.
And what that's called, a moment of clarity?
That's a moment of motherfucking clarity. Yeah.
Yo, you already know.
That's how I see that shit.
Yeah. Alright, that's good shit, bro. That's good shit.
Appreciate
Clarity,
you,
Artrospective. Real quick.
Man. That's a good collab. We gotta make some merch, man. That's fire. Moment of clarity, Artrospective. That could be some fire ass merch.